What is good, y'all? I'm assuming that a lot of competitively minded players are going to be clicking on this video because you see Iron Valiant, you see the title, you might think it's some type of competitive analysis. So apologies if that's not what you were expecting clicking on this video, but I appreciate you clicking on it regardless, and I recommend you stick around because I've got some really cool buffs and changes for Iron Valiant for my ROM hack. Again, it's a ROM hack. It's not a competitive uh, approach at all. It's all balanced for an in-game hack where everything is preset and you're fighting AI and all that stuff. So if you want to learn more about the ROM hack, and this is your very first video of mine, again, I really do appreciate you clicking on the video. I recommend you pause and read the description down below. It'll give you a lot of much needed context for how this works and how I approach changing Pokemon. And I also have videos you can watch after this one explaining it more in depth if you want more context, but hopefully the description is more than enough. It's all bullet point lists, so you can give that a read. I recommend you do that. After you're done with the video, you can check out the Gallade and Gardevoir videos. I will quickly flash their changes on screen. I will talk briefly later in the video about comparing the two of them, or the three of them rather, in regards to like which one you would pick, because a lot of people might, I feel like most people would be like, oh wow, Valiant is better. Why would I ever touch the other ones? Because Valiant's a better Pokemon, because they're thinking about it like it's competitive, or they're thinking about it like it's a vanilla, ROM hack, which it's not. Everything is reworked. I put a lot of special effort into making, branched evolutions and other things worthwhile in regards to all members of that evolution line. So, yeah, I'm getting distracted, but Valiant, what happened to my format, man? There we go. So, Iron Valiant, it's got some really straightforward buffs, but also a lot of new move synergies that are not immediately obvious to people who don't know how the moves in this game work. So again, if you're new here after you're done with the video, not only, first of all, you can join my Discord, do that as well if you haven't done that yet. Sub to the channel, all that good stuff, especially if you're a returning viewer. It helps me grow, it helps me get my ROM hack out to more people, it helps support my work. So if you want to support my work, do that as well. Sub, share, comment, drop a comment. If you're watching this right now, that helps me as well. I especially appreciate, like intelligent type of comments, but regardless, I appreciate your comments anyway. Anyways, as I was trying to say, move guide, you can check that out right here. It's got all types of stuff on here that you can check out. It's all organized into categories, so you can easily understand how all these move buffs and changes work. It's, again, into categories, so it's easy to understand. And of course, I do explain them in the videos, but I don't always have time to get into every single one. So with all that out of the way, Iron Valiant has some really cool new abilities. So it's got the same attacking stats as Gallade and Gardevoir combined, so both of them have 130 special attack and attack now, and they both also have really good boosting abilities in Gardevoir's Pixelate and Serene Grace Revelation Dance with special attack boost, and then Gallade's obviously Sharpness, and then Gallade also has that Quick Feet, so it's actually faster than Valiant. However, Valiant can use Booster, so it's kind of a similar thing. Quick Feet Valiant is a little bit similar to Quick Feet Gallade, but they still do function differently, especially because there's some I mean, even if I didn't say this in the Gallade video, but if you got like Terra Normal Facade, that'd be pretty fucking cool too. But in general, yeah, Quark is very good for speed boosting mostly. I would not really use it for anything else unless you need a specific coverage move that isn't Ruthless boosted. Then sure, you can go ahead, especially if you got a plus speed nature Valiant, so you're already very quick without the speed boost. However, most of the time you're not going to get a plus speed nature, right, in terms of like probability. So you can check your booster speed tier. With 0 speed EVs, you're hitting 385. You can even run booster speed, max special attack, max physical attack, and run, 4 attacks and just go fucking crazy and just click coverage moves, click super effective moves. That's really fun because you have tons of great moves on the physical and special sides of the spectrum, which I will cover, although again, you can read a lot of them here, but there are a lot more that aren't even covered. As for the flavor behind Ruthless, so I think it's a really cool blend between Gardevoir and Gallade, right? Because it is this mixed attacker, and it has tons of mixed attacking Ruthless boosted moves, special in terms of special ones like High Voltage, Subspace Tear, and Radiant Edge, and then physical ones like Soul Crush, Brutal Blade, also special ones like Mirror Cutter. I mean, you got tons and tons of options. I'll cover them all in a second, but there's a bunch of moves for either side, and then of course you have coverage moves that aren't boosted but are still obviously very good coverage moves to have. Motor Drive, super great. Because first of all, it's an immunity, and of course your SPDF is poor, so switching on like special electric attacks is really nice for free. And then you also get a free speed boost, so that kind of makes up for not being able to run Quark Drive if you're running Motor Drive. And then with Ruthless, you can slap on a Scarf, or again, if you got that lucky plus speed nature, you're going crazy. So as I was saying with Quark, you don't need to run it to speed EVs because you're already hitting crazy speed tiers with no investment, right? Like you're outspeeding base 125 with no investment. And, you know, obviously the AI might have a 130 or 135 Pokemon occasionally, but it's not every boss fight. And if it is, you just dump in a couple EVs. You know, you can hit 400 speed effortlessly. You know, obviously this is all level 100 shit. It's going to scale differently as different levels, but I'm just using it for reference. So the point is, you don't need many speed EVs, if any, ever, with Quark Drive Booster Speed. I lied. I lied to you all. I was talking about Scarf. If I was talking about Quark, I'm lying. You need to run speed EVs for Quark because it needs to be your highest stat. Unless you're running... Nah, you need speed EVs. I lied, guys. Hopefully I wasn't... I don't know what I was talking about. And I'm vocal cording, bro. I'm trying to get through all these, man. My brain is fried. But regardless, yeah, no, you need a lot of speed EVs. Not a lot, but if I put these at 130 each, then you need 116 speed EVs, and then you outspeed, and then you know, and that's also assuming you're running no attack. So then you could run bulk and shit. Point is, you have to scale your EVs to get the Quark Drive boost, but it's not a big deal. With plus speed nature, it's much easier to do, but without plus speed nature, it's takes a little bit less attack EVs, but it's fine because you have tons of strong coverage moves and high base power moves, so you can still use those without the EVs in your offenses. A lot of the time in general in game, you're not going to be running max offense a lot of the time because again, it's a ROM hack. You're prepping. You're probably going to be running a lot of bulk most of the time because this is how it ends up working out. Not always, of course, but in a lot of cases. Yeah, so Quark Drive Rising Voltage is cool. Motor Drive is cool for the speed boost. Quark Drive in general is really cool, even if you're not using it for speed. I would say the main use is for speed, but you can still use it for other boosts, you know, for other offensive boosts. Especially if you're running Bro into Rain, then they go crazy. If you have an Electric Surge Mon, it's even easier to use, but even just manual Electric Terrain is very reliable and easy to use in-game, in an in-game ROM hack type of context, right? So that's all great. Of course, as you can see, their move pool is huge. That's just the nature of them being a mixed attacker. A lot of these aren't even really new adds, and if they are, it's like new adds that make sense. Did they really not get Solar Blade? No way, I think that's gotta be a mistake on my part, right? Let's check. Let's check together, guys. I am Valiant. Oh my god, I typed it in wrong. Solar... Nope, no Solar Blade. It's weird because Glade gets it, I'm pretty sure. It's fucking stupid, whatever, man. It's also weird because, like, the Swords of Justice, like Iron Crown and all those guys, they get it too. So I don't know why they wouldn't give it to you. Yeah, Goliath gets it too. Weird. Anyway, very minor thing. Don't focus on that too much. Just overall, you got tons of very high base power moves, coverage moves. I mean, with Move Relearner, this guy goes crazy. It is definitely, I would say it's for me the most fun. Like, I would want to use Valiant the most, and I'm sure most people will. But just in terms of raw gameplay, it doesn't outclass the other two. Gardevoir has its own stuff. It's definitely gonna, it's like I said in the Gardevoir video, it's a Scarf Hog. It's gonna hog your choice Scarf slot. But it's still very good with that. It's even better at snowballing than Valiant can be in a lot of contexts. And yeah, it's really up to you. And also, if you just like Gardevoir the most, then you can still use Gardevoir from the beginning to the end of the game, even if the other evolutions might be easier to use or easier to abuse. Doesn't make Gardevoir bad, you know. And the whole spirit of the ROM hack is you use what Pokemon you like the most. That's the ultimate goal of the game. So, and of course, Teamlocked and all that other good shit. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. You can always read the description or watch my other videos about those if you're curious and you're listening this far in, which I'm pretty sure most of you guys who are listening this far in already know how this works. But anyways, I'm getting really sidetracked, man. Booster is great, Ruthless is great, incredibly powerful. It can be overkill in a lot of cases, but it's still really nice, especially for the coverage moves, to give you that like essentially pseudo stab on like high voltage and subspace tear. And I think, man, these moves are so cool on Valiant. Like if you just think about it from a flavor perspective, like this fucking robot swordsman combination of Gardevoir Gallade getting all of these like cool electric and psychic steel moves. It's like a robot, so it's steel, it's electric. It's so fucking cool. I love it. I think it's sick. You've got your Radiant Edge, your Soul Crush. I would say a really crazy one on this thing is Steel Beam Booster Energy Speed. That goes insanely hard, which is why it's so late, because even though it's not Stab, it's still a 180 base power move, right? Even if it's not Stab. And then also Terra Steel would be so fucking cool. Dude, so many cool Terra types, like flavor-wise. Like if you get Terra Steel or Electric, that's so good, or Psychic. Those three are like super cool. Even other types are sick, of course, but just in terms of raw flavor, I would love to get one of those Terra types on this thing because it's like a triple type mon. I don't know. I love that type of shit. Yeah, anyway, I'm getting really sidetracked. I was trying to talk about Steel Beam, yeah. So Steel Beam, you can run booster speed, get that speed boost, click Steel Beam, one-shot something, and now you're +1/+1, and then the rest is history, right? You can get a bunch of kills from there. Of course, you will hopefully still be forced out by the Quick Claw Mon and the AI, depending on when that comes in, and other stuff, but definitely a bit busted in that context with Move Relearner because you can teach all the coverage you want with no downside. So I don't know, might have to rebalance it down in the future, you know, rebalance moves like Steel Beam and other stuff, but that'll be future patch stuff as the game is out and people are playtesting it and whatnot. So don't worry about it too much. In these videos, a lot of the stuff I'm saying might become outdated over time. It definitely will become outdated, but the basic principle of the buffs and the changes and the flavor behind them and the way they work is still going to be the same for the most part. So yeah, Volt Switch is really cool. Minus priority teleport can be nice in certain contexts. Fairy fighting in general has really good resists. Also, I'm fucking starving. I gotta eat after this, bro. Sorry, Iron Valiant. Can you tell us getting the man the bulk recording, bros? Yeah, you got really good resist. 4 times dark, 4 times bug, and rock, and fighting, and immunity to dragon. So that's all really great stuff. Of course, Gardevoir is also immune to dragon and has that fighting resist as well. 4 times fighting resist even, as opposed to 2 times. But regardless, it's got great stuff. I would say the main advantage defensively is not only just the different typings of the other two, but also the fact that they have much better special defense, so they can switch on special attacks much easier, while Valiant might need more smart pivoting to pivot into resists. Gardevoir and Gallade can switch in on like neutral special attacks pretty reliably, so that's something to keep in mind. Acro is also really cool with booster. Ruthless boosted First Impression, Ruthless boosted Meteor Beam, and Electro Shot are both sick. You got Electric and Rock type right there. Those are both really cool with, if you say, for example, you run Quark Drive and Electric Terrain, then you get a speed boost and you can run Meteor Beam or Electro Shot with Power Herb. So that's really, really good and definitely worth the setup that it takes to get that off, because you could get tons and tons of kills after that. In general, I mean, I would honestly personally just like to use this as like a kill, just switch in, kill something, and whatever, go from there. I think that's the most fun, personally. I don't like sweeping very much, and I might even add like a sort of soft ban on sweeping, like an honor code, like, hey, maybe don't do that unless you want to. But you know, anyways, the game is infinitely replayable, so if a couple runs are cheesed by some sweeper shit, it's okay, because you're supposed to be playing the game over and over again. But yeah, you got tons of coverage. I mean, I don't have time to list every single one of these, right? So hopefully you can just pause and look at it. I mean, you don't even need to pause. You've been staring at it this whole time. Or if you're listening to this, you can, you know, at the beginning or the end of the video, or take a look. But yeah, got tons of awesome coverage. Even stuff like Doom Desire and Future Sight with Ruthless is really cool, because you can click those and then Volt Switch out and then go into like a resist or something. Say you're fighting I don't know, hypothetically a fucking, I don't know, Psychic type Mon, right? They're super effective against you. You click Doom Desire with whatever move they're going for. I don't know. You can do some cool tech with it. You can encore some shit. Doom Desire, Volt Switch out, and they die to the Doom Desire. Obviously, Night Slash with the Scope Lens is also going to get the job done there, but you don't always have the chance to run Scope Lens, because unless you get a plus speed nature, you're not actually that fast. So in regards to how fast you genuinely are, you're only hitting to 320, which isn't bad, but like you're not outspeeding even base 100s with a Valiant, neutral nature Valiant. So that's why Quark Booster or Electric Terrain Quark is really, really useful. Of course, Ruthless is still very good, and Mortar Drive is incredible in that regard too. So that's another advantage of Valiant, right? You're immune. I mean, you got that electric immunity too. So Dragon, electric immunity, fighting, dark, rock, and bug resist. So that's super, super dope. Super, super good traits to have there. Yeah, 5 levels. They evolve 5 levels later than the other two, which isn't a huge deal. It's only 3 or 4 boss fights, so not a big deal at all. All of these, like, as you can read, all of these like Wicked Blow type variants can't be used twice in a row, so you can't just spam Ruthless Scarf Valiant and just spam kills. You can click one, you know, if you want to be brainless about it, you can do Scarf Valiant, switch in, get a kill, switch out, pivot around, switch back in, and go from there, but that still takes more thought, at least, than just spamming it brainlessly. Although, of course, you can spam shit brainlessly with Quark Drive anyway, and your coverage moves, so it's really up to you, man. Very fun, Mon, of course. Did it not get Will-O-Wisp normally? I guess because it doesn't evolve from the others, but I feel like it low-key might still. No, it doesn't. Okay. But that's another cool ad. Encore, Will-O-Wisp, Screens, Volt Switch, Trick Room, Wish, all these like niche utility moves that you can slap on once in a while if you need it. Again, this game, if you're listening 14 minutes, and you probably know this, but I'll say it anyways, is balanced around Teamlocked. So you're supposed to be cooking and switching your ability slots, move slots, item slots. This case is a bit less of one of those, because it's just got so much good offensive traits. Like, I don't know if you'd really ever bother with that utility stuff, but it is still definitely useful if you don't have any better options in your party at that time. You know, so that's a really cool way to abuse this guy. But overall, you've also got like Mirror Cutter breaking sashes, dude. If you got like Terra Steel, oh my god, so fire. Because you get Mirror Cutter so early, right? That's the same with any other Terra type, by the way. Like, I give Mons powerful moves that aren't stab early, so if you get lucky and get that Terra type, then it's like, holy shit, now you have a super strong move early on, which is really good. So that's always a really cool thing if you get a bunch of cool Terra types. Yeah, overall, Appreciate you listening. Let me know if you made it to the end of the video. There's a couple other things I could talk about, like, the obvious, like, Sacred Slash Stab and Psyblade and then, Psychic type coverage and the fact that it's really cool because they're like a pseudo-psychic type in that regard. There was a point in time where I was considering giving them Psychic Surge, but I think that makes the other two even less interesting to pick. Although, again, expanding for Psychic Surge would be cool. I think these three ability slots are perfect for it. I never covered the flavor for Ruthless. Hopefully it's obvious. I mean, they're like this emotionless robot, I guess you can say. Um, Nothing is that it is really said to be ruthless, but I think it just fits well enough, especially with the sharpness Gallade. And I don't want to give them sharpness because that limits their moves. They would have very few. The only sharpness moves they have are like these coverage TMs, and then like Sacred Slash, Radiant Edge, Brutal Blade, Mirror Cutter. I don't know. It's so much more Side Blade. Like it's still like a good amount of moves, but Ruthless is so much cooler on them. And again, they are mixed attackers, so I want to encourage that. So yeah, thank you for listening. Appreciate you making it to the end. I really do. I know I say this at every video, but I really do appreciate it. So leave a comment down below if you made it to the end, and I'll be back for more coming up. Peace.